Hi focus friend, welcome to Hidden ADD, your number one source for thriving at work and beyond if you, like me, are focus challenged. Have you ever wondered what productivity advice looks like in real life? Advice is great, and I share a lot of it on this channel. But problem with advice is it's always neat and packaged and tends to be pretty black and white. However, when you actually see these things in real life, you get a sense of the nuance, of the gray areas, of the messiness of actually putting this stuff into play. In this video, I let you in behind the scenes into my life so you can see how I do my most important work in the morning. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I implement my core productivity strategy. I explained this strategy in the related Coaching Corner video, but for those of you who haven't watched it yet, here's a quick summary. The primary measure of productivity is the number of important, valuable things that you get done each week. Important, valuable work requires you to be at your best, which only happens for a certain amount of time each day and often goes in a cycle. I tend to focus on the period in the morning when I'm freshest and have the most clarity and most focus ability and most willpower. Okay, so that's the overall strategy. What does it look like in terms of actual execution? So the first thing I do is I identify my prime time tasks. These are the tasks that are most important to push my top priorities forward and that need my brain in prime time mode. So you can write these down on a post-it note, while I'll use general regular yellow post-its for normal notes to myself or things, small tasks I need to remember. I used special color orange ones for my day goal, whatever my prime time was. So today it was script 3 videos. Right now I'm not using the post-it system. I use a shared spreadsheet with an accountability buddy of mine, but it's the same concept. If you want to see how I choose these 1 to 3 most important tasks or prime time tasks, check out my upcoming ADD IRL video on how I do day, week, month, and year planning. That'll be coming out shortly. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss it. Step 2 is that I need a block of at least an hour and a half of uninterrupted time without distractions. This would be what Cal Newport calls deep work in his book on the same title. The point is that to do deep work, which is by definition rare and valuable, it requires some rare and valuable focus. It requires you to be uninterrupted and to do your best work. Anybody can respond to 10,000 emails, which would be, if you wrote really short answers, the equivalent of 100,000 words that you've written. 100,000 words, though, would be a very lengthy novel or nonfiction book. To do that kind of output, though, requires more deep thinking, uninterrupted time. So that would be an example of deep work, or what I'm calling a prime time task or a most important task to do. Okay, Aaron, well, that's all well and good. Sure, just carve out an hour and a half of uninterrupted time. How do you actually do it? Okay, so here's my work calendar. I had to blur it out because it is my work calendar, but anything with a color that isn't gray is an actual meeting or something I need to attend. What I've done in some of the gray areas, the ones earliest in the morning, are ones that I've blocked out ahead of time, and then the rest of them are through an awesome program that I discovered that I will share with you next. So if we zoom in over here, you can see I had a meeting at 8:30. Then I had done my own block that I put as DW, deep work, for an hour on 9 to 10 Monday morning. And then here, this is a block from Reclaim. And so this is a great program I discovered that I highly recommend. It works at least with Google Calendar. I don't know what other calendars it works with. And so we're gonna go into the app here so you can see what this looks like. And so I really have 2 main things. And what it does is, so basically what I'm telling it to do is anytime between 8 and 11 a.m., this is my deep work 1, the second one is deep work 2, I would like an hour to an hour and a half of uninterrupted time, Monday to Friday, show that I'm busy, and then be most defensive, but don't decline if there's an incoming meeting. And what does defensiveness means? The most defensive one will mark events as busy 24 hours before they're scheduled to begin. or if there's only 1 hour left in the habit time window. So what this means is, while I would like that hour and a half in the morning, if somebody schedules a meeting, it doesn't show up as blocked. So basically what it means is I only block out maybe an hour or 2 hours maximum in any given morning for work. So what Reclaim will do is, if all the time's already been booked, it will block out that time for me, or if no one's booked the time within 24 hours before it happens, it will block it out on my behalf. This leaves me this nice block of 3 hours of desk focus work time that I had this particular Monday morning. The other way that I block out time for deep work is simply to make time before my job begins. This is actually the most valuable, important time for me, because even that time that I showed you where I had 3 hours blocked off on Monday morning, I still can get instant messages, or otherwise a little bit of my brain is focused on what I might need to do. So generally I wake up between 5:30 and 6:30, depending on what month or year you happen to ask me. And what this does is this gives me at least an hour to an hour and a half before work. With working from home and COVID, it's been even more time, which has been delightful. Now I've got the time blocked out, which is awesome. The next thing is I guard my mental clarity in the morning like it's going out of style. So when I wake up in the morning, my brain tends to be relaxed, refreshed, clear. I can focus after a cup or two of coffee, of course. But there's one thing that is sure to throw that off, and that is letting any new inputs come in. So I literally guard my mind like a fortress, because once something even small and minuscule comes in, it starts getting a little bit staticky and a few other things slip in, etc. So what does this look like? This looks like putting my Android phone into do not disturb mode at night before I go to sleep. This keeps me from seeing a notification like a chat message or something else, or a text message when I wake up at 6 in the morning that frankly, I'm not gonna respond to then, or a news alert or anything. It's just gonna throw off my mental clarity. I'll admit I haven't been reliable lately at setting do not disturb before I go to sleep. I'm considering setting a schedule which will automatically do it for me and take it out of my hands. Whether I set my do not disturb or not, one of the things that I'm really vigilant about, at least for the first 4 working days of the week, Friday might slip, and if I'm super overtired, other days might slip a little bit, but I don't let in other input. So I don't check the news. I don't check Facebook or social media. I certainly don't check email or anything along the likes that will impede my mental clarity. One trick that I've used to stay focused on that in the mornings when I wake up, rather than leave it to chance, is using a morning checklist. So here's one that I was using earlier in the year. And the second item, 3 biggies written down in the morning, which is what I was doing then. Shout out to Alan Brown. That was my reminder to basically identify my most important tasks. With all of this now set up, I'm ready to get working, and I do 2 important things. One, I take my phone and I put it on silent mode, and then I hide it from my line of sight. Step 2 is that I set a countdown timer. My top choice is working for 50 minutes straight, as Brendan Bouchard recommends in High Performance Habits, after which I'll take about a 10 to 15 minute break. But IRL, I set my first session, my first timer of the day, at whatever amount I know I'm willing to actually start on. Sometimes I'm super groggy, and all that I'm willing to even contemplate sitting down for is 20 minutes. And so I'll set it for 20 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. Then I'll come back and do a 40 or 50-minute work session once I've gotten the wheels turning, so to speak. Final note on the countdown timer. Again, this is where I want to give you some of the gray areas about IRL implementation. If a timer goes off and I'm in flow, I will let myself keep working for a little bit. I am not a timer Nazi. I know some people might choose to be. That said, I do really try to keep it to 5 to 10 minutes of overtime, because much longer than that, and I find that I burn out too quickly during the day, and so I don't get as much important things done as I would like to. So that's the background of my core productivity strategy in real life. life? Do you have any tips for me and the other viewers that you would recommend as changes to how I do this? Any questions that you have for me and how I implemented this? Let me and the other viewers know in the comments below. I've got a lot of new stuff coming out, so if you don't want to miss it, remember to subscribe and hit the bell. Here are 2 recommended videos that if you like this one, I really think you should check out. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.